pray. Dear Lord, as we're here at this very moment, God, we're asking that you open up our minds and our hearts to receive this information regarding the origin of the church. I believe that in order to know where you're going, it's important to also know where you've been. Please help us to know the history of the church and just become more familiar, Lord, with the past, Lord, as we continue to anticipate your second coming. Be with us now, we pray in your holy name. Amen.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tarrying. I had a busy, so it was a busy morning. We had a morning service at Croydon, then we had a baby dedication. I just finished a marriage and counseling session. You know, yes, yeah. So it's good to be here. I'm looking forward for an exciting afternoon, and I hope you'll enjoy the afternoon. And so I have some, I don't know if we want to call this an icebreaker. I have a sheet here. I just want to, I'll see how many sheets I have. I don't have a prize to give out, but if we can discover, there are 28, you have a pen? This is icebreaker. There are 28 books of the Bible mentioned in that sheet. Yeah, each person should be able to get one. I think we have enough. And I don't have a prize, but I'll help you to go through them because it may be difficult. This is just an icebreaker.
Thank you.
Let's kind of wake us up.
I'll share it.
It's competitive. First person to get it. It's like a word search.
Okay. Oh. The books of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
With the pen.
So I don't know who will be the first.
No, wait, no. Can we count us in?
Huh? No. You get on quietly with your work.
Who's got a pen? I don't have a pen.
Huh?
I don't have a pen.
Yeah, you can use your Bibles to help you. But see if you can. Now listen. You have to look carefully. Read what it says. Some of them are joined up, right? Some letters are close together. Some letters are close together. So look carefully. If you want to go in twos, if you need help. Let me help you with the first one. Are we there? The first book, you see this? THIS is, did you see a book there? Amos. Did you see that? All right? Right? Right. So just underline them as you go. There are 28. Huh? And we have a couple minutes. I'll help you. Huh? Huh? Oh, okay. Do you have a photocopy here? I don't know if I have another. Okay, yes. 2 becomes 1. Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm going to help you. Don't. Pam is laughing. She saw 1. Eh? Huh? You're saving this for? I can help you. No. Not as yet. Huh? I'll help you along. If you look in the 3rd line, because there's more, you see Honolulu. Huh? Honolulu. You see what you see there, Luke. Huh? No more clues. No, I'm here to support you. Don't worry.
Question. Are they backwards?
It goes all, no, backwards. It's straight words, yeah. If you look in line 5, there's John. That's easy. Huh? Line 6 is a bit difficult. Did you see John? Huh? Line 6 is a bit difficult. Playing his banjo, then next to it, Elaine. Right? Joel is Joel. Yeah? You saw that? Okay. Hmm? Did you see it?
Every clue you give, I won't count as a point.
You saw Joel, eh? Huh?
28. It's 28.
Right, okay. Maxine saw it. Line 8, that's easy. You see Judges and Job. You saw that. Line 9, did you see that? After puzzles. Did you make it out? What's that? That's right. In the same line, there's one. It's a bit difficult. You see nerves and there, right? You make that out? ESTHER. Right? You saw it? Line 10. You see, that's a fact. And some. ACTS. You saw it? Line 10. That's a fact. And then you see some. ACTS.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Acts. Right? You got that? Okay. Then line 11 that's an easy one. Coming to the end. That's right. You got it. Line 13 is easy also. That's right. And then there's another one from that. There's another one right next to it. Look at it carefully. Romans, yeah. And at the end, there's one. That one is a bit hard. Same line. And it continues. Right. That's it. Titus, you got it? You saw it? Huh? You saw it? Titus, you got it? No, not every book, not every book. You go in the next line. You go in the last line, you go to the end. Did you see something there? It's easy. In that paragraph. Look at the end. Them at they worse. That's right. Huh? Pardon me? Huh? You got it? Okay, let's go to the next paragraph. The first line is easy. The one is easy there. That's right. Huh? No. You got it? Okay. Then after that, 4 lines down. That's right. Eddie got that. Philemon. Huh? You saw it? Alpha, Delta, Phil. The next one is easy. Right? Then the next 2 lines after that is easy. Then the next line is easy also. Then the next line is easy. 2 in that line. Huh? Huh? That's right. Samuel, Numbers. There's one that's going to hit you there. The 4th to last line. Look at it carefully. At the end. The 4th to, at the end. When you're coming to the bottom. Look to your left.
Peter. That's not right, Peter.
Normal. Look at it. Malachi. Huh? You saw it? Huh? Yeah, man. Look. Huh? You saw it now, ain't it? Huh? You got it? Then the other line is easy. Huh? You saw it? And the one after that is easy too. Kings. At the bottom. So that's it. Huh? That's good, isn't it? Huh? Yeah. What happened? We're going to be looking at a multiplicity of different things before we really get into the meat of this thing. These are just icebreakers. Most young people will benefit from that. Pardon me? Yeah, if you have enough for everybody, but what I'm saying, most of the young couples are young people. That's, you know. Huh? Yeah, you have over the side. No. Yeah. You got 28? You miss any? We can go. Yeah, everybody's got one? Come, let's come together. Let's come together. Formulating what? Lasting relationships. 10 types of relationships that won't work. Why?
I'm already questioning the pronouns already.
Okay. Anyway, it's there. Let's just work with it, huh? Right? How do we do this? I'm trying to get everybody involved. Possibly we need to do some alternate. Then we go to one section, then we go to the next section, and we go to the next section. So you can read it aloud for every. Oh, you need another mic in it. Or you can take this. Okay. And just pass the mic down.
The first one.
That wouldn't work, right?
Yeah. Number 1. You care about your partner more than he does about you.
Yep.
Your partner cares more about you than you do about him.
Number 3, you are in love with your partner's potential.
Number 4, you are on a rescue mission.
Wow. And you need to keep this because I want you to take it home and so you can go over it, go over it again and think about it. Huh? Go ahead.
You look up to your partner as a role model.
You are infatuated with your partner for external reasons.
Some of us have gone before, but we can still read. Yep.
So it's been totally disrespectful, Sister D. I'm going to read Sister D's and mine. You have partial compatibility. Is that one? Is that where we got to? Number 7? And then Sister D's is you choose a partner in order to be rebellious. Did you
Wow.
You choose a partner as a reaction to your previous partner.
Your partner is unavailable.
The thing is in relationships, we can ignore these things. Huh? We can ignore these things to our peril, right? I'm giving you this for free. This costs money. You understand? Because I do, but this is good stuff. And you can ignore these things here, and sometimes we can be sentimental about things, you understand, and ignore these little nuggets that are given us to hear. And, let's go to the next one. 6 biggest mistakes. No, time. There's lots to cover. When you go home, look at it. We can talk about it later. Yeah? The 6 biggest mistakes we make in the beginning of what? A relationship. Let's go.
We don't ask enough questions.
We ignore warning signs of potential problems.
Just read number 3.
We make premature compromises.
Both sides are involved in this. Okay.
We give in to lust blindness. Okay. We give in to material seduction.
We put commitment before compatibility. One of the things I see clearly here is that I just completed a session just now, and for some reason or the other, the world has put the horse before the cart. I mean, I've been doing this thing for a number of years, many, many years before many of you were born. And we put the cart before the horse. So we don't look at the reality of situations. And back in the old days, people talk about love, and we don't even know what we're talking about, love. And let's go back to the Bible. One of my key texts that I start any counseling session on is Amos chapter 3, verse 3. Can 2 walk together unless they agree? That's my foundation text. Amos 3:3. Can 2 walk together unless they be agreed? The Bible didn't talk anything about love there, As a matter of fact, we don't even know what governs love. What governs love?
Well, what, you asking a question?
Yeah.
Respect.
Boundaries. And that's something people don't talk about in relationships. As a matter of fact, a lot of practitioners even haven't discovered that. Boundaries. Respecting each other's space, boundaries. Anyway, we won't go deep into that. Okay, let's go. 7 what? What? Go ahead.
Pressure from because of your age,
Okay.
family, or
Right.
friends, etc.
That's right.
You're under pressure to.
Social pressure.
Yeah.
It's like even when you get married, the church wants to know, did anything happen yet? Huh? Forgetting that you as a couple, you have your own plans and you want to do things in your own time, and so you have that pressure in that relationship. Let's go the other one. I don't know if you want to call the word in church, but God invented it, so go ahead. Don't be afraid to call the word. As I said, God invented it.
Loneliness and depression.
Yep. The other one?
Sexual hunger.
All right.
Number 4, distraction from your own life.
Number 5, to avoid growing up.
Number 6, guilt.
Guilt. Guilt, guilt about lots of things. You're bringing your past, lots of things that might have happened, and you feel, guilt is killing you, and sometimes you think that marriage can be a relief from these circumstances, but they still come back to haunt you.
Like if you cheated on the previous partner, but you married the next one.
Yeah, but the point is, too, when you're dealing in relationships, what happened in a past relationship has nothing to do with the present relationship. Wherever the person meets you in that new relationship, that is where you start. Your past is your business, because what you don't want to do is disclose your past, and when there's a little tiffle in the house or in the relationship, they use that to abuse you or treat you in any condescending way. So you have to be careful of that. Okay. Listen, I'm going to leave this with you because we have so much stuff to go through, and you can go through it at home, right? Pardon me? You plan to go again? Okay. All right. Okay, so that's a compliment of Pastor Blake, right? Okay, I'm going to do a little quiz. You need to tell me when my time is up. Huh? Okay. Anyway, when you get bored, just shout. Huh? when you get bored, just shout. Okay. And these are quiz. I'm going to give you the answer, so it's not to put you through any trauma or what have you. Okay? Just put your hand up and so on. Let's see who get the most points. Right? Okay, this one is easy. What year was the Seventh-day Adventist Church organized? Right. I don't think everybody heard.
1863.
1863, right? The Seventh-day Adventist Church was organized when? 1863. This is easy. What year was the Great Disappointment? What month? Year, okay, you give me the year. What month? Yes. What day? Date? 22. The 22nd, right? Now, sometimes, when it comes to dates, don't be too hard on the Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Because we did set some dates. Samuel Snow set the first date in 1843. Then the next date was set on the 21st of March, 1844. Then they decided to come down to October 22, 1844. So we did set some dates, okay? But, it happened. So I know sometimes the Jehovah's Witness also. Are we not online, eh? Is anybody? Are we online? Oh. Right, okay. Huh? Anyway, it's in their doctrines. It's in their doctrines, they have said. But I didn't realize, because when you're doing these things, there are things you want to say. Yeah, we'll get back to that. But all right, okay, all right. Okay, the third question. Who gained a new understanding of the disappointment of 1844 in a cornfield, according to Daniel? These are things we should know as Seventh-day Adventists. No? You remember when they taught the Jesus Christ? No. They taught the Jesus, I'll tell you. But just get the idea. Remember they thought that Jesus Christ was coming back to earth, but Jesus Christ was not coming back to earth. He was embarking on his second phase of his ministry. The person is, once you hear the cornfield vision, it's Hiram Edson. Hiram Edson. He's the person who God spoke to, right? That changed the whole concept in terms of the beliefs of Adventism. Hiram Edson in the cornfield vision. Because you remember they're disappointed? All the people went back to their various churches, right? This is what happened. And a few faithful people, got together and decided to pray about it, and God revealed this to them. Okay, this one is easy too. What year did Ellen White die? What year she passed on? Wonderful, 1915. How old was she when she passed? 88. She was 88 years of age when she passed, and she passed in 1915. Now, this is a question you can choose one of them with the answer. Where does the Seventh-day Adventist have its roots? Baptist, Methodist, or in the Millerite movement? That's right, the Millerite movement. There are things that we borrowed from the Baptists, right? There are things that we borrowed from the Methodists, right? Sometimes, don't think that times that we're too exclusive. We did borrow things from other churches, because conferences and all of these kind of things, we borrowed from the Baptists, all right? Right. Who introduced Sabbath keeping to Adventists? Yeah. Don't tell me the Bible now, please. No. Who introduced Sabbath keeping to Adventists? I'm going to give you the answer. Rachel Oakes Preston. All right? Rachel Oakes Preston is the first person that introduced Sabbath keeping to Adventists. Rachel Oakes Preston, double barrel. What was the name of the first Seventh-day Adventist minister? He used to be a Methodist pastor before. Pathfinders, come on, Pathfinder folks. Frederick Wheeler. Right? Frederick what? Wheeler. He was what? The first Seventh-day Adventist minister or pastor. Right? Who was the first General Conference president? Huh? People smiling because they know the answer. It was John Byington. He was the first General Conference president. Sister Maxine knows, but she's just smiling. She doesn't want to say. Okay, you'll know this one. This one is easy. Who was the first black president, union president of the British Union? Of the Union, British Union. Perry, Cecil Perry. Not the conference. Dr. Reed was the conference. Right? Cecil Perry was the Union, the first black president of the British Union. These things we need to know. Huh? Pardon me? 1991. Who introduced to the Seventh-day Adventist Church harvest and gathering? See, I'm just asking you the main things of the church, not any deep stuff. These are just things we do all the time, you know? I'm not taking you into any Daniel and the Revelation or what have you. The name of the person was Jasper Wayne. Jasper Wayne. It started way back in 1908, but it was until 1947, then it was called Harvest and Gathering. Right? I'm making you sleep? Okay. Who brought the Seventh-day Adventist work to England? Yep. Or the message then?
The message.
Who brought the Seventh-day Adventist message to England? Who? No. His name will come. I'll tell you something about him. Pardon me? It was an Englishman who went to America, who grew up in America. He learned a message over there. He came back. His name was William Ings. William Ings. John Loughborough came after. Right? But William Ings is a person who brought the Seventh-day Adventist message to England. Well, you'll know this one because it's easy. Who started the AY Society? It was MV then. You know that. You all know that. Huh? We're in AY, ain't it? By two young men. Come on now. It's AY. Huh? No. It was Luther Warren, who was 14, and Harry Fenner, who was 17. And it started in 1879. So your AY, please remember that. Luther Warren, he was 14 years of age, and Jasper Wayne. And when it started, it was called Boys Missionary Society. It's a little later after they start accepting girls. Huh? Huh? Okay, now we know the Seventh-day Adventist Church. What is the name of the major departmental office in the British Isles? The major departmental office of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in the British Isles. What's the name of it? What is it called? The Trans-European Division. It's in St. Albans. The Trans-European Division, right, is the major office in the United Kingdom.
And that covers all of Europe?
All of Europe, most of Europe. Okay. Trans-European Division. So these things, as pathfinders and members, you need to know. This is just, you know. So this is a tricky question. Your local conference is located in which branch of the Seventh-day Adventist organization? Your local conference is located, listen, your local conference is, that's right, the British Union. Your local conference is located in which arm of the organization? It's in the union. the British Union. I'll explain the whole thing, how it operates, right? Because I know some of you. Is that something? Is that a thing to finish? No. Okay. All right. Okay, I've said it several times from this desk. What is the major doctrine of the Seventh-day Adventist Church?
The Sabbath and the Advent.
Never. None of it.
Is it the Creator's message?
None of that. That's right. Please, saints, let's not forget it. The major doctrine of the Seventh-day Adventist Church is not Sabbath, it's not state of the dead, it's not second coming, it's not judgment, it is the sanctuary doctrine. All the other doctrines came out of the sanctuary doctrine. Please don't forget it. The major doctrine of the Seventh-day Adventist Church is what? The sanctuary doctrine. What is the name of the president of the Trans-European Division? In other words, our major boss. Sweeney is Pastor Sweeney is no president. I'm saying what is the name of the president of the major organization, the Trans-European Division in this country? Dr. Daniel Duda. Duda, yes. How many conferences do we have within the British Union? This is not nice. Huh? I need to ask for a transfer. Huh? I'm not doing well. Huh? No, we're not going there. Ask a question. That's how you get your marks scratch out. Stick to the question. You know, I suffered an examination for that once years. I answered was 3 questions, I answered 4. And I had a penalty for that, because understanding the question is part of the examination. So the question is, how many conferences are there in the British Union? Huh? You're not sure? Some sure and some not sure. It's 2. Yeah. Well, please. Yeah? There's 2. How many missions do we have within the British Union? 3. Could you name them? Anybody? Everybody get 100. Yes, wonderful. Wonderful. What's the name of the president of the World Church of Seventh-day Adventists? You didn't hear the question, sis? The name of the president of the World Church. No, I thought you didn't hear. Yeah. The president of the World Church of the name of the president of the World Church of Seventh-day Adventists. Huh? There are lots of Wilsons around. Ted Wilson, right? His father was also president before, right? Yep. Yep. Yeah, I'll come to that. Yes. Okay. What is the name or the number to which your church this local church is located? That's known. Everybody got 100. 6B. You're near your 6B. You know, 6B, 6C, 6D. Yeah. Do we know, pardon me? Yeah, yes, 6B. Yeah. So, do we know the name of our local conference president? Pardon me? Please. Steve Thomas? Yes, Dr. Kirk Thomas, Kirk Matthew Thomas. Do you know the name of the secretary of the conference, of your local conference? Pastor Nathan Stickland. Do you know the name of your treasurer of your local conference? That's right. Wonderful. Okay, this is an easy one. What was the first Seventh-day Adventist church in England? Where was it? Right. 100. Bingo. Southampton. The first Seventh-day Adventist church in the whole of the British Isles was in Southampton. The records are there. You can go see the records, the minutes of all the church clerk, everything they have on display. Yeah. Huh? Yes, William Ings was the first who brought the message to England. Huh? As a result of Adventism. Yep. Then followed John Loughborough. He came after. All right? Okay, yeah. Now, the Adventist church, the structure of the Adventist church came out of the Bible. I think it was in Exodus 18. You remember when Moses had all these people to lead, and you remember his father-in-law? What was the name of his father-in-law? Never. See, this is the reason where you have to read your scriptures carefully. Jethro was his title. Like how you have Prince Charles. Jethro was his title. Go to Exodus chapter 2, verse 18. Somebody read it, please. Jethro was his title. No, 2. Chapter 2, sorry, verse 18. His name was Ruel. And when you go to Numbers 10:29, you'll see Raguel, but it's the same person. 10:29. His name was not Jethro. Jethro was his title. Like how you have Prince Charles or Princess, or are we together? But Ruel was his name. Okay. Is everybody happy? Okay. I'm sorry I don't have some gifts to give out. Huh? You know, one of the it's not a problem, but it's new to the world and the church in terms of what we have to cope with, whether we like it or not. This whole matter of gender, whether we like it or not, it's not going away. It's here to stay. Do you know how many genders there are? 6. It's about 60 something. But let me just share a few with you. You have girl, you have boy, you have female, male, young woman, young man, trans girl, trans boy, gender fluid, agender, agronomous, bigender, non-binary, demi-boy, demi-girl, genderqueer, gender non-conforming, trigender, all gender, in the middle of boy and girl, intersex, pangender. Pangender? Pangender is when you go with everybody. Gay, straight, in between. Huh? Whatever. This here call it, from the government thing, call it genders. Right? And whatever the point is, don't address somebody with the wrong title. Or might as well you just call the name, because you don't want to get in deep water. Because somebody may be in transition, and you call them a title or give them a name for which they don't want to identify with.
No, they should make it known what their pronouns are before. They can't
Well,
get offended if we don't know.
well, I'm just telling you, you need to be on the safe side. Eh? You go in the world of work, just make sure that you're on the safe side, and just, these are the rules. Once they don't conform or affect your Sabbaths or what have you and so on, you have wisdom. The whole idea, you have wisdom, you know how to operate within the place of work, what to say, what not to say. Yes? I don't know if I can answer, but you can go ahead. Yep. It's good to be on the safe side. It's here. It's here. Whether you acknowledge, however you want to put it, it's here. We have to work with it. We have to cope with it. It's here. So when people come in, you must know, use your what have you, and no possibility. That's right. You can ask them. Huh? Yeah. That's right. So you hear it, huh? Everybody hear it? Come, sis. Yep. And then what I'm saying is, I believe if we use the book approach, right? that's what I'm saying. The safest thing, people come to the church, just work with the name that's in the book, isn't it?
But I don't see how, yeah, you're right. I don't see how it would matter here because no one here, as far as I'm aware, calls each other by she or he because it'd be rude. We call each other by our names. That's what we do here in church. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, John comes in here and presents as female, but their pronouns are he, him, right? We would never say, oh, he said blah, blah, blah in this environment because it would be considered, I would never call you by she or her. I would call you by your name because it'd be rude.
Yeah, but you might say, well, he would have meant to sit beside sister so-and-so. You know, it's not.
I don't know anyone that would do that.
It's a cultural awareness.
Don't worry, I'm going to take it away because I think these are the choppy waters we will get
Well,
into.
I think-
And it's not about the outcome of what you want. It's more about where do we stand on these issues as Adventists.
I understand that, and please don't think I'm disagreeing with you. But I think the Bible, when the Bible says we have to live peaceably with people, I don't think that means that we can't stand up for our faith. What I think it means is that if you meet someone for the very first time and they say to you that my name is Tom, especially given if you look at what's just recently happened in the government, they've stopped doing puberty blockers for teenagers because they realise that there are so many other elements to do with like mental well-being and health. That's what I considered. Before it was like they said that they were the way they're doing puberty blockers, they can be whatever they want, and the government's realising that there's so much more complexity behind that. If I meet someone who is vulnerable, that's typically where it comes from a place a lot of time of vulnerability or not being so happy. And if someone comes in and they tell me, oh, you know, they're identifying differently, and my first response is, oh, I don't believe that, you know, God said this, God said that. If I'm talking about bringing that person to Christ, how does that person be in this place? That makes sense. And I don't think that it doesn't mean that the conversation can't happen. But I think, especially on a one-to-one basis, I think that's where we need to be careful. When it comes to where the church stands as a whole, you know, is that person going to get in the front preaching and leading at the front? No. But in terms of that person is worshiping with us, for me, I just feel like it comes down to, it's not just about, you know, it's about a lot of different other things. There are a lot of things that we won't say to someone, you come to the front, you do this, because the church has a standard. But in terms of someone coming into worship with us, I don't think that should be the first attack that we want. That's my.
So the reason I'm challenging this is that I think as a church we do need to air it and kind of.
I don't think you're challenging it. I don't think it's a challenge. I think you're sharing.
No, listen, let me explain. I think we do need to have these difficult discussions now because the problem for our church is that sometimes we kind of sleepwalk and confuse issues. So somebody will come in here necessarily saying that because they want. Well, sorry, let's just rephrase it. There's some people who will come because they want to force these. So we need to know what our responses are and why. Because we're not going to go look into the trouble. The trouble's going to come to us. Yeah. So this is why
This is the reason why I didn't want us to go online with these things. Because what we call this, no, this is a serious matter because that's why we often, I think I said it in the pulpit, this matter is not an easy matter. I said it's a fishbone that's stuck in the throat of the church. The church can't swallow it and they can't spit it out. And it's not easy to be dealt with, you know? And I still think that the church is a public place. So once people come through the door and they put their name down, I think that's the easiest thing. Whatever you say in the book, you just work with what's involved. I still think that's the best, you know, to keep us what happened. And it's not easy, but these as I said, and these genders, this is just some. There are many, much more. Where's Eddie? He's gone? He's okay? Huh? So you do let him go from time to time, huh? Eddie, just share some of this. don't know if there's enough for everybody, but yeah. See, yeah? Ed, give me one. I need to do it. I hope you're enjoying the earwax. Huh? Okay. Oh, yeah, this is good. Yeah, you can look at this when you go home. I'm going to run ahead because but it's good stuff, huh? All right. Eddie's gone again. What are you doing that is sending this guy away from you, man? Huh? 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 Ed. Let's make sure at least the teams couples get one. Yeah? And when the couples have gotten, you can goes to live by. Yeah? The one was a mix, huh? There you go. Goes to live by. Yeah. Is everybody happy? Huh? Okay, great love and great achievements involve what? Risk. Everything is risk. Courtship is a risk. Marriage is a risk. Everything is a risk. You don't know how it will end. When you lose, don't lose the lessons. Learn the lessons. Follow the 3 R's. Yeah, I don't know if I need to. This is homework. You can look at this when you go home. Just because of time, I want to. Yeah? Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm going to start it. Pardon me? I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to go into the main thing for the afternoon, right? Because I'm mindful of the time and I just want to respect the time. And so we're looking at a world in which Adventism began. Right? And so our roots start way back in the 1830s. 1830s, 1840s. You had the Wesleys who were around, you know, the Wesley started which church? That's right. The Wesley started the Methodist Church. All right? And you had the Lollards and the Waldenses and different churches around. And so modern Adventism developed in the Great Advent Awakening, the early years of the 19th century. What was going on? There were wars in Europe. You had the Napoleonic Bonaparte, you know, he was making headway in Europe and so on. You had the excesses of the French Revolution, you know about this in university and so on. the whole idea is the world was looking for stability, all right? And so, of course, at that time, of course, you know, the Roman Catholic Church was around. It was the dominant church around. And then you had the indignities, of course, the Pope, and you know, he was taken captive, as we know well, in 1798 by Pope General Berthier, who was the general, and we know that the Pope died in exile in Valence, France. He died in France. And so a new interest was developed at that time in what we call in Daniel and the Revelation, and the 1260. Leonie, you must remind me to come back to that thing. It's important, yeah? The 1260-day prophecy, all right? And so Protestantism was experiencing what we call a renaissance. You students in university, you know the period of the Renaissance. You studied it. Everybody gone quiet, huh? You would have done that in a course in history, you know? Okay? Now, and so around then, what was going on? New churches and sects were emerging and so on. You had Joseph Smith, the Church of the Latter-day Saints, and what have you. And so the economic conditions were rife for church development. So I'm going back to the Renaissance, because in the Renaissance period came, in the 1800s, came the railways, Britain, electricity, printing, and all of these things. So, and aesthetic, and a lot of things came about in the Renaissance period. So it came at the right time, because this would help to promote the gospel of Jesus Christ, because if things can be printed. Remember, prior to the 1800s, remember, as we just said, the papal domination came to an end in 1798. You see how close the time is? When Pope Pius was taken captive. All the while, God's church, if you want to call it God's 21st century movement church, was in the wilderness, right? Because of what? Persecution. Remember what's going on in the Dark Ages? Lots of people were killed and what have you, and so on. So God was waiting on the right time to which, in order to bring his church into focus. And so economic conditions were good. Britain, it was only Britain and the United States really that were interested or committed to what we call Protestant evangelical outreach, because all of this was just a pushback against Catholicism. Are we together? Right. And then you had what we call, it began with what we call the awakening in Germany. You have Johann Petri, and you had he was Calvinist, and so he was focused on the second coming of Christ. And so for centuries, the Roman Catholic Church ignored what we call the return of Jesus Christ. They had nothing to do with it. They didn't preach it or what have you. And so then something happened in 1790. You know, God is no respecter of persons. Something happened in 1790. There's a guy from South America, my neck of the woods, in Chile, right? His name was Manuel de la Cunza. And eventually he settled in Italy. He was a Catholic Jesuit. What he was? A Catholic Jesuit. God used him to write an article entitled The Coming of the Messiah in Glory. And he wrote it under the pseudonym name Ben Ezra. Of course, you know, he was eventually excommunicated from the Catholic Church. That article lit a flame throughout the whole world, Europe and all over the place, concerning the interest in the second coming of Jesus Christ. It didn't start, start with the Catholic. And so he wrote, he called for, thorough examination of the Bible and for light, on the return of Jesus Christ. He was excommunicated, as said, and in 1824, Pope Leo the 12th said that, many of the rest of his articles must now be published and so on. And then you had Henry Drummond, who was a banker, and Joseph Wolfe, Edwin Ivory, and all of these guys start, the interest in looking concerning the second coming of Jesus Christ. We must remember that all of this was going on. There was no Seventh-day Adventist church. It did not exist, right? You had churches like the Baptists and the Mormons, Presbyterians, you had the Methodists and others. But the Seventh-day Adventist church did not exist. But this guy, as a result of his article and preaching and concerning the second coming of Jesus Christ, it attracted William Miller. William Miller. He was foremost in the Advent awakening, and so when William Miller started preaching as a result of this article, then you had people like what you call Josiah Litch and Charles Fitch. They started designing prophetic charts. And what made them start designing charts looking for the second coming of Jesus Christ? Because of the signs that were fulfilled. What happened in May 1917? You had the Dark Day. What happened in November 1833? You had the falling of the stars, the meteoric shower. And because these things happen, out of the curve, people says, hey, something's about to happen, the second coming of Jesus Christ. And so this whole interest happened. And something big also happened because of the prophecy. I speak about earthquakes. And remember in November, was November 1, the 1st of November in 1755, where they had the Lisbon earthquake. In Portugal there. Over 1 million people died in that earthquake. And so all these signs that took place around that time make people start pushing and saying, oh, something's about to happen. And so people start studying about the second coming of Jesus Christ. But all of this time, remember, the 1260-day prophecy, God's church was in the wilderness. Couldn't come out at that time. Because there was mass persecution, the red horse. You read in the Bible, right? Paganism was rife. Then you had the black horse of apostasy, 538 and 1517. Then you had the pale horse. That's the time of the Reformation. There's a time when people like Luther and all of these guys start writing stuff. The Reformation. The Reformation more or less rescued the Dark Ages in terms of what was happening. And let me tell you something. The amount of Catholics that died, that stood for their faith, is more than the present Seventh-day Adventist denomination. The amount of people that stood for Jesus and what they believe is more than the worldwide family of Adventists. I'm talking, they didn't mind being burned to the stake. They didn't mind being crucified. And if you see some of the stuff that happened to those people back then, I remember when I was in Colombia, I visited a museum in Colombia, and they have, because remember you had the Spanish Inquisition, all of these things going on. They had another thing like a mince mill. When you turn a mince mill with a point, in which they were turning it into people's head. So they put your head in a pipe. Church people. I saw that. There was another one where they put you on and your hand and they stretch it out. I'm talking about church people. And they're Catholics who went on that, who did not recant. They stood for their faith in Jesus Christ, rather than to embrace the teachings of Catholicism, penance and purgatory and the Pope is. They refused. I held the gallows outside where they used to hang Christians. There was also the thing where they used to, Christians, they used to, the chains where they used to put one horse, tie a horse and you chain to one leg, and another horse tie on the chain to another leg. And they would change the horse in different directions. I'm not talking about what I just read. I'm talking about what I saw. The other thing they used to do to show you on the pictures of the things, on the people's fingernails, they used to cut pieces of wood, like needles, and push the pieces of wood on the people's fingernails, and put their hand in like tar or fuel, and light it. You know, they sang. They were singing, yeah. And let me tell you something. That's why you read them in white books. It says, don't knock Catholics. Don't run them down and knock them, you know. Because what they stood for, many of us won't stand for what they stood for. As a matter of fact, you study the history. When Hitler was doing his thing in Germany, thousands of Adventists joined Hitler's stuff. Thousands of Adventists joined Hitler with his atrocities. Then you had the Hitler Youth, a lot of people from the because the Seventh-day Adventist Church was well organized in Germany. The only denomination that stood up to Hitler in Germany with that thing was the Jehovah's Witnesses. All the Adventists bowed. In Germany. It's in the history. And so, the church was in the wilderness. Yeah, we have to wrap this thing up. And that's why sometimes I go to the Bible. I've used this text from the screen already, Revelation 10. If you forget any text in the Bible, you must remember this one. I know we know John 3:16 and what have you and so on. Because this has to do with the origins of what? Your church, your denomination. Revelation 10, verses 10 to 11. Just read what it says.
And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth, sweet as honey. And as soon as I'd eaten it, my belly was bitter.
Okay, hold there. That is when? When? Come on, saints. 1844. That was what? The disappointment. When the Millerite movement and they were expecting the return of Jesus Christ, that was the disappointment. But okay, continue reading.
And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many people and nations and tongues and kings.
Right, you hear what it says? You must what? In other words, keep what? Preaching. Keep preaching. So look at that. So 1844. Disappointment. Hiram Edson was what? What we said about Hiram Edson? Cornfield. Come on, saints. Cornfield vision. Christ was not coming back to earth. He was entering on the second phase of his ministry. Prophesy again. All the time there was no Seventh-day Adventist church. There was no commandment-keeping church. Prophesy again. So the Adventist church is born between what? Verses 10 and 11. Are we together? The Seventh-day Adventist church is born. So 1844, verse 10. We are organized in what year? 1863. How many years after? 19 years after, we are born because we're the people who are keeping what? All the commandments, right? Not only that, we came on the scene when after 1798, after persecution, this is important, the 1260-day prophecy ended when? In 1798. It began when? In 538. That is when the three Arian powers rejected Catholicism. You know, the Ostrogoths and the Visigoths and the Vandals. When they reject Catholicism, they were Arian powers. They were thrown out by the church. That happened in 538. That's why the prophecy begins in 538. Ended in 1798, when the Pope was taken captive. The church was in the wilderness. God was keeping his church. And then they had a disappointment in William Miller. And 19 years after, in 1863, what happened? The Seventh-day Adventist Church was organized. So those are three things. We exist prior to 1844, we kept all the commandments, and we have a worldwide message That is very important. Now, what was the opposition to God's truth? God had some opposition to the truth. You know the devil always give a counterfeit? The good Lord said, be baptized. What other people say to do what? The Bible says, read your book. Some people says what? Read a what? A prayer book or a catechism or read some. There's always a counterfeit. There are many of them. So there was opposition. Now, one of the things that has swept the world, apart from the Communist Manifesto of Karl Marx in 1848, dialectic materialism. I know a bit about that. Each according to his ability, to each according to his need. These are all socialist terms. You know, I studied all of that stuff. Yeah, Karl Marx did his thing. God doesn't exist here, right? It's the people. Everything belongs to the people. You don't own anything. The state owns everything and so on. You've studied this in university. But I think one of the deadly blow to the world, and the world has not recovered from this, and universities around the world, all universities talk, this whole matter of evolution. And so you know this name, Charles Robert Darwin. I'm going to blow your mind with this. Who you think taught Darwin? Any guess? Who taught Charles Darwin? A Guyanese, a black Guyanese taught Charles Darwin. You know, what happened? Charles Waterton, he was a naturalist, and so he visited Guyana, and so he went on this plantation in Guyana owned by Charles Edmonstone, who owned this big plantation in Guyana, but he was from Scotland, right? And so he had a servant by the name of John, who was a slave. And so he learned everything, you understand, from his master. And so when he was coming back, you know, when he was coming back, Charles Edmondson was coming back to Scotland, he brought John with him. Of course, you know, the slaves took the name, right, of the master. And so he brought John with him. John had learned all the medical words and all the medical terms dealing with animals, stuffing animals, procuring animals, and so what happened. And would you know that Charles Darwin lived a few doors away? He was interested first in medicine, but he didn't do well in medicine. And so what happened? At that time, so John Edmondson, he took this, you know, he took the surname of the master. He had established his business. Everything is in Scotland there until this day. And so Charles Darwin went to his classes and learned everything from him. And then he went on his tours. He was taught by a black man. And what happened, the plaque that they had in Scotland for the black Guyanese, they tore it down, of course. But the point I'm trying to make, Edmonstone. No, he taught general medical stuff, birds and you know, toxic, how to, you know, and stuff. And Darwin took from that, and he formed this evolution for this, the world has. But what I wanted, the point I'm trying to make, that this evolutionary thing, right? Origin of the Species and all these books was written. That thing has taken the world by storm. And it's in opposition to the creation story. And people get PhDs and doctoral degrees writing thesis on this stuff. You know, so that's where we are. So God's truth, his church faced that opposition, and it will continue. So you had the assault of that, you know, And then you had the whole matter of communism and socialism and what have you. That was another assault on Christianity. And so the world is really divided, in lots of these things and what have you. There's so much to say, but we have to end. I want to go back to any questions? Huh? Joseph Bates, the sea captain? Okay, well, yeah. No, I couldn't go into detail with everything. You buy Adventist history books. It's good for pathfinding, and you can learn so much. The organization of the church. We have the General Conference. You know the General Conference office is in Washington. That's where the head office is. Again, following the very Moses structure in Exodus 18. His father-in-law told him, right? It's difficult for you to rule all these people and divide them up into tens and thousands and what. So we more or less have the same structure. So we have the General Conference at the top. Then after that, we have the divisions, right? But what we need to know, like in St. Albans, where Dr. Daniel Duda is, in St. Albans, the division office, right, is a branch of the General Conference. So Dr. Duda is a vice president of the General Conference. So you have divisions all over the world, but they're vice presidents because the reason why, because their positions, like how we have conference session, we send delegates, isn't that so? We send delegates. And so the union is normally in charge because the conference can't do its own parliamentary procedures and what have you. So the union takes care of that. And so all those positions in the division office is voted at General Conference because that office is an arm of the General Conference. All right? So it's like you're talking to a General Conference person. It's only that they're stationed in St. Albans. Of course, where Pastor Mendez is, in the Ellen White Estate and so on, all of that, they belong to the division. Now, under the division, you have what you call the unions. So you have the British Union, which Pastor Eglon Brooks is the president. You have in Europe, you have different, all over you have unions, right? Then under those unions, you have conferences. Conferences is what makes union. So we are a union here. Why? Because we have two conferences, right? We have North England Conference and we have South England Conference. This is the reason why we have union. Now, under those unions, you have what you call missions. The reason why they are missions because they're not self-supporting. They cannot finance themselves. So their salaries are being paid by the union. In other words, they may have numbers, but they don't have enough finances to take care of their administrative and what have you. So it comes. So they're dependent on the unions. So we have Scottish, the Welsh, the Irish, and what have you. And so that's the structure we have. But the South England Conference, to which we belong, is the largest conference in the whole Trans-European Division, all of Europe. Yeah. Well, it's good to say amen. It's good if we had the votes and what have you. Because you may be surprised to know as much as we have all these numbers when it comes to voting. So you have smaller unions or conferences than us in Europe, and they have more power. There's some things I would want to say, but I wouldn't say it because we're online. Huh? Well, Yeah, but the point is, yes, if we go to sessions, we spend time focusing on policy and not who dressed long and who dressed short, and who will have you and so on, we could achieve much. We forget that when we go to these things, it's business. And while we tear down our own people on the or have you on the platform, there are other people looking at policy and blind your eyes. And so there's a reason why when voting comes, people get this and we don't get this and that, but it's not for us to complain. Anyway. Thank you, saints. It's enough. There's so much to, But thank you for your time. It was wonderful. Pardon me? Oh, you're trying to tie my foot now, eh? Yeah? Yeah, there's much more to say, but yeah. But we can't think. Elder, I think we have to. You need to. Yes, let's just pray and just get started. Huh? Yep.
The origins of our church. And we're not just a Johnny-come-lately group of individuals who think a certain way. Lord, you ordained that we play a crucial role. We pray quite sincerely that we will accept this mandate that you've given us. This isn't just about attending church, ticking box, and going away and living our lives independent of you. But it's a life calling. So empower us, Lord. Thank you for being with us. We're going into a review of that which has been accomplished by you, through us. Help us, Lord, to see your working. This is not just the disparate acts of a few individuals or many individuals. You are working. Help us to catch a vision. Pray in Jesus' name.
Yeah. I know our numbers are depleting, but I'm just thinking of the time because.